Hey guys, so you're here with a special guest today, Cooperate, who is very high rated on Dueling Book with Virtual World, which is really good to see. And so maybe I'll just get you to introduce yourself and yeah, why you play Virtual World in this format.
Hi. So I'm Cooperate. Some people also know me as Cooper. Doesn't really matter. Uh, so I've been playing like Virtual World for like about 2 years, I think. It's like the first kind of competitive deck I picked up, and I picked it up like after the VFT ban. So I mean, back then Virtual World was still good though.
Yeah, I definitely did not enjoy playing against Virtual World with VFDs. So maybe we'll just get right to the deck list then. So we do have the three Lulus, the three Lao Lao, the three GGs, the three Kirans, the two Nyan Nyans, and the one Tutu. I would ask, is this pretty standard? I think a lot of players don't play the Tutu anymore, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, I played Tutu because I'm also playing Gamma as well, and the Tutu like, works really well like with Gamma.
And are the
Yeah,
rest of
and
the
also
ratios
because
pretty
yeah.
standard?
Yeah, the rest is pretty standard. You could, cut like a Nyan because you're running because my build has prosperity in it, so
Hmm.
you don't run the risk of desires where you like could lose your engine in the banish face the 10 cards banish face down when it costs the desires. So you cut like one Nyan and have one desires like national one, no, it's like another like hand trap or something. But I just keep it as another Nyan because it's flexible.
Right. Awesome. And then we also have the three Kowloons, the three Qinglongs, the two Chuchi, and the one Zhuanu. Anything about that? I guess that's pretty standard as well. Okay. And then I guess moving on to the other spells, then the three Italian, you did mention the Prosperity, which I think is pretty standard as well. And I do see that you're playing three Imperm, three Gamma, and three Lava Golem. So are you actually going second with this deck, or are you still trying to go first?
I'm still trying to go first because if I could like usually my first turn end board would be like a monster lock where I run Caliga and I like
Mhm.
Caliga with Crystal Wing and basically my opponent can't play, so I don't really mind like running like having potentially dead cards like Lava Golem going first because well I'm aiming to win like lock them my opponent out of like the game going first, or either I could also like pitch it off like a off from Ching Long or like a
Mm.
Xiangwu.
Right, right. That's true. And how do you find your matchup against Tearlaments with this deck?
I feel like it's like really like a coin flip, matchup. Because the elements run like what they run like 6 to 12 Bystials. They run Imperm. They run Kelbeck. They might run some people run Ghost Spell. And like most of those cards aren't really impactful. Like Bystials don't do anything against this deck. Imperm, like you could it usually just trades for like the Stalkin or like the Mud Dragon. And Kelbeck isn't really impactful unless you keep it for your turn to bounce Shinshin.
No, that's fair. Is there a particular deck, whether Flender or Sprite, that you feel like this has a better matchup with, or is that also a coin flip to you?
Flunder is like a kind of like a coin flip. I mean, depends how you good you open, right? Because you could play under like the bear statue like really well, and you have Qinglong can negate the bear like the bear statue, and yeah, the only problem is the traps. But if you open a spell, you should be pretty fine.
Anything about the main deck before we move on to the extra?
Uh, no, not really. Pretty
All right.
standard.
Okay. And then I guess to the extra deck, we do have the Kaliga that we mentioned, the Dragoon, the Coral Dragon, Crystal Link Synchro, Mud Dragon to bring out the Dragoon, the Satellite Warrior, Zokin for the Crystal Link play, the Vermilion, and then some virtual world stuff, the Juju, the Shen Shen, of course. We also have the Constellar, Zeus, the Gaia Dragon, the Jaja, and then lastly Wallow. Anything about the extra deck that you wanted to mention?
Oh yeah, so a lot of people like I seen they don't play Dragoon because they think the cost to negate is like really bad. But to be fair, like any board breakers breaks like a normal like virtual world end board, right? Because usually you're going for what like Crystal Wing Shinshin, you fold to like Lightning Storm, evenly matched Dark Ruler, well like Dark Ruler you also lose, but it's like a lot of cards that like just board breakers like instantly beat your board. Right? So and then I think that having that one Omni negate is like really good to prevent like evenly matched. And also being untargetable is also really big against your limits because they, like, if it's at like 4K, they can't really out it like efficiently. They have to play some like awkward lines where they have to go like Lido Heart to crash into Dragoon, or like they have to rely on like non-engine to drawing non-engine to beat the card.
Mm-hmm. How often does the Wallow come up?
Uh, it's I actually don't make it going first. Like going first, I prioritize either a fusion with Shinshin or Crystal Wing, and Wallow it only comes up in like it helps against towers like the rival Ignister. You could
Mm-hmm.
like beat over it with the Wallow because it boosts all your monsters attack for each card in your opponent's graveyard, and yeah, and then like if a tier ball breaks my board, then I could just set up Volo with like and have a Shinshin again, and which is like really good, especially paired up with Chuchi.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, that's fair. I think the rest of the extra deck is pretty standard for the virtual world lists. Anything about the extra deck that you wanted to mention?
Oh yeah, there's also like a couple of cool lines with Dragoon uh because it says Dark Dimension and plus Red Light Black Dragoon or one Dragon Effect monster, right? So you gotta remember that. So Ultimaya and Mud Dragon, like Ultimaya isn't like the only fusion target. You can also fusion summon with Coral Dragon, which is also Dragon type. You also go into M7 to add back a card from your grave to your hand for recursion. Overlay it for Gaia Dragon, which is also Dragon. So you could fusion summon Dragoon with that and Mud Dragon as well.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. Okay, and then I guess we're just flying through this, but to the side, we this is pretty interesting. You have the one of each Ishizu cards, the Banshee for the zombie world for Flunder, I assume. Beatrice in the side, Call by the Grave, the triple Dark Ruler, triple Talents, the zombie world, and three evenly matched. So how does the Keldo and Medora work out for you? I guess you send it off with Beatrice against Tears.
Yeah, so basically, after post siding, I side the Jaja for I side Jaja for Beatrice, and then I side in the Mudora Keldo usually for like a Nian Nian or and a driver, and that also is out of the entire gamma package as well. So yeah, it basically sends a shuffler, so it's like two interruptions, pretty
Mm-hmm.
nice.
And is there any other way to get this into the grave, like without Beatrice?
No,
Mm-hmm.
like either you hard draw it, and send it off like Qinglong or Xiangwu, or you just
Oh,
send it
I
off
see.
Beatrice.
Right, because you do discard quite a bit with this deck, so I guess if you hard draw it, then you just get it to the grave pretty easily as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any reason that you decide to just side the Beatrice instead of trying to main deck it? Is it?
Yeah, so it doesn't do anything. Like, if it's in an extra deck, it doesn't do anything at all. Like you make it cool, if I had the beaches in the extra deck, main extra deck, what I would do the most with it is just to use it as fodder for Zeus.
Hmm.
Like I don't see an underline because I'm not playing bitch deals, right? So I can't really make Beatrice well that effectively descend like chain long to get my play started. So I'm like relying more on my engine.
Right. And can you play Bestials in this deck, or have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, so I tested a lot of this bestials and I feel like that you either got to run like nine bestials with three imperm or like some kind of like big hand trap ratio to make sure that you actually draw enough hand traps to stop our opponents. But like when you're like when you, like I prioritize consistency over like
Mm-hmm.
in going second cards, right? So because I want to so like 30 cards in my main deck is dedicated to engine and make sure that I don't brick going first, and then I just have like 10 cards going second. So if I run like like three, like I don't know, three bestial magma and one juice worm over like the three lava golems, like they don't really do anything. Like, cause I need to either draw them with imperm and or like gamma or something to make them good. Otherwise, like a single DD crow isn't going to stop tier at all, right? Because if for example, if I just like draw like one magma, okay, I like interrupt one of their fusions. They're like, okay, they can always like tactics punish me, and then I just like lose right out of the game. Like,
Mm-hmm. No, no, that makes sense. Okay. Anything about the side deck then that you consider changing at all, or are you very happy with your side?
uh, tactics, I guess you could argue to side it out because I don't think it works that great with prosperity. Because if you try to
Hmm.
draw and draw into prosperity, it's kind of bad. Or like yeah, and like taking it's not good because you don't run any links, so you can't really like link away your opponent's cards that you take. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's the only thing I use it is to side it in going first against like tier. I bait like two. I make a line where I like play into hobness and then I practice look into her hand, but like that's about it.
Right. No, I mean that's fair. And I guess I'm not sure if you're aware or like in terms of post photon hypernova, I don't know if you've already sort of had any considerations on how you might have to change the list at all, or are you have you not prepared with that yet?
Yeah, so I've been looking into the new rank 9 generator boss. It's like the
Mm.
Leviathan. Yeah, so it's pretty really good sword effect, but doesn't do anything. Like I mean, like doesn't I thought it could do anything, but it's not like good, right? Because when you when like the rank 9 plays in virtual world are like usually it's end with like back in the day you ended with like VFD or like double VFD with like Gossip Shadow and like Chuchi,
Hmm.
right? But like if like most of the hands like just end with like Levitian and like Chuchi and like maybe Gossip Shadow if you want to. But that's kind of mid because like you lose to Book of Eclipse, right? Because I heard like a lot of people are running Book of Eclipse and the lines where you make Levitian is kind of sucks because you play into Nib and like Havness and Imperm like a lot more and more prone to be being punished by it.
Hmm. Well, no, thanks. That's actually pretty good insight, and I'm sure people who are looking to still play Virtual World will appreciate that. So, I guess anything else about your list before we end the call?
Uh, no, not really. It's
Awesome.
pretty
Well,
standard overall. Yeah.
thank you so much for the deck profile. Any last shout outs you want to mention?
Uh, no.
Okay, cool, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you again and take care, everyone.